Live tonight, we are live from Firhill ahead of a big game in the battle to avoid the drop. It's Partick Thistle against Ross County. Also a big day in Scottish football. Ally McCoist is here. I think we'll be talking a bit about Steven Gerrard.
Absolutely.
Scottish Football Extra. We have got an exclusive interview with Steven Gerrard, which you'll see in full from 6:45 tonight, so please tune in then. But we'll be hearing a bit from him as well on this Facebook Live programme, so stay with us. But first of all, Ally, your initial reaction. Did you cue him?
No, I don't know where that came from, but I know Mr. Sutton's just absolutely so amused at the timing of that. But anyway, on the new managerial appointment,
yes.
First and foremost, you've got to say, Darryl, it's absolutely fantastic for Scottish football. It really is. It's brilliant. It's put us back on the map again. I think, globally, all over the place, we'll be looking now for the results to see how, Steven does against Brendan.
He's still laughing.
I know, but I
he
just
likes to laugh at other
I really think it's fantastic. I really do. I think it's absolutely tremendous. It's a gamble. Of course it's a gamble. Listen, any managerial appointment is a gamble. I get it, not a lot of experience in the managerial side. In fact, no experience in the managerial side. But at the same time, what a fantastic player. Always indicated he'd want to get into coaching and management. And Rangers have taken the gamble of appointing him. I thought he handled the press conference, as you would expect, fantastically well, Darryl. There was no problems at all there. So very, very interesting times ahead.
And I know you love a Facebook Live. I think we're on Twitter, we're on Periscope as well. So
Periscope?
Yeah,
I'm pleased about that. I was telling Big Chris I was looking forward to that Periscope.
That's why you're here, actually, isn't it? Get all your questions in. We'll get through as many as we can. In fact, here we come. I think some questions coming in.
Here we go.
I wanted to ask you about the press conference, though, because the only thing you can do in that is really make a bit of a fool of yourself, if you like. You can only say the wrong thing. So everybody's watching, waiting for your every word to come out. But he didn't really say anything that was wrong.
No, not at all. I wasn't surprised at all, Darryl. I mean, listen, he's a veteran to be in front of the camera, both on and off the park. So that side of it, didn't concern me at all. And it was a great press conference. It really was. I think the vast majority, certainly if not all, the Rangers supporters were thrilled with what they heard and saw. So, as I say, it didn't surprise me at all. But the hard work, I think, as he said himself, will start on June the 1st.
Interesting as well, though, that he did say in that press conference they had taken a lot of advice from former players, former managers. He almost made his mind up himself right away that he wanted to come out. Does that surprise you a little bit that he didn't maybe do the due diligence, if you like, from former players' point of view?
I would think he probably did. I don't.
Not admitting it?
Yeah. I mean, I'd be very, very surprised that if he didn't speak to. There's a lot of people that he could have spoken to, and he certainly would have spoken to regarding the move. A lot of people think, understandable, it's a far bigger managerial move for him, for example, than MK Dons. But you can look at it both ways. I would be staggered if Steven didn't seek reassurances from Dave King and indeed the board in terms of the most important part of the early start of his Rangers management, and that will be without doubt the recruitment side, because you can, if he doesn't get a help in terms of finances for either for wages for loan players or indeed to go and buy a better standard of player, then they won't close the gap in Celtic.
One thing's for sure, though, when he stepped out and saw at least 7,000 fans, I think they were saying there today, he would have realised, if he didn't already realise, the enormity of the job. That must have been some feeling. You've been through that all before. Yeah,
I mean, absolutely. He would have been delighted with that reaction today. I noticed early on it was his oldest son was showing me. I think Paul Gascoigne sent him a good message, which was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And just to let him know what to expect when he took the job. And
I think he said, "Don't lose."
I think that's a good start. If you're in the management, particularly at Rangers, and you don't lose, it's a start. But no, he would have been pleasantly surprised. And maybe a little bit overwhelmed at the reaction and to the support today to the news that he's become the new Rangers manager. And I think, as I said, listening to him at the press conference, he's very, very confident, as you would hope and expect. And he's eager to get started, which
Lots
is
of
fantastic.
questions, of course, coming in on this very subject. Almost nothing else. So
Periscope, is this?
Well, I actually don't even know.
No.
I think we're on Facebook here.
Okay,
they send me a lot of questions. One that just did come in, though, and I was slightly off topic, asking if you'd take the Morton job. More than a couple.
Well, I don't know. I'll need to discuss with my agent Chris Sutton there and see if he allows me. I think it's a good move for me.
He's told me he'd like you to leave a few times, so there's every chance you might. Dean Burns asking, Gerrard coming to Scotland, great for Scottish football, he's saying, but do you believe, the big question, can he stop 10 in a row? Is he the one to do it?
Well, nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Do you think he can?
We'll find out. Well, as long as he's given the opportunity to.
It's a hard one to answer until you know the plans.
It's a very hard one to answer until we know the plans. As I said, the most important thing for Steven Gerrard and Gary moving forward with the Rangers will be the initial 3 or 4 months in terms of the recruitment players that they're allowed to bring in, which is absolutely vital.
OK. I know you've heard a bit of the press conference. For anyone that's tuning in right now that's not seen it, here's a bit of Steven Gerrard earlier on today.
When the call came off Liverpool with the opportunity to speak to Rangers, it was a no-brainer for me. I got a different feeling in my stomach from the previous opportunities I'd had in terms of being a number one manager. So yeah, you know, there was a lot of things to think about, but from that phone call I got a special feeling, and I knew Rangers was for me. It's very important to talk about the support that I've had from the chairman and from Mark and from Stuart from the first conversation. There's a lot of positivity around their ambition, which matches mine, and I have a confidence that I can deliver here as a manager. So I don't think it's the time now to go into much detail about what's available and what's being said to me in private meetings. The most important thing for me is the opportunity and the challenge, and that's one I'm very excited about. And we want to give these supporters an exciting team, a winning team, and a team that they can be proud of. I need to get my feet in the door and my teeth into the job before, you know, I can weigh up exactly where we need to strengthen, where we need to improve. But you know, I'm here for a reason, and that's to front that challenge and try and take it forward. But when the call came off Liverpool with the opportunity to speak to Rangers, it was a no-brainer for me. I got a different feeling in my stomach from the previous opportunities I'd had in terms of being a number one manager. So yeah, you know, there was a lot of things to think about, but from that phone call I got a special feeling, and I knew Rangers was for me.
Alex Ray and the rest of the guys are in, and do not forget, we'll hear from Steven Gerrard, an exclusive interview, 6:45 on Scottish Football Extra tonight. Very interesting thoughts. I spoke to him myself just a short while ago. It was the expressway all the way to Maryhill.
Brilliant interview, Darryl.
He's only saying that because he's not heard it yet, but there were some interesting things that have come from that. I think he went in a little bit more depth than he did in the press conference as well, of course.
That was because of you, Darryl. That's what you're trying to say.
You did give me a few questions and I didn't ask any of them, by the way.
Did you learn anything from Chris's interviewing technique? Because he's done a little bit himself recently.
Yeah, don't do it that way. Pretty much what I
I've quite enjoyed your interviews.
Isn't it important? Ali's here today. It must be an important day because he is never here for Facebook
It's only because it's local.
Big day.
It's only because it's local.
Well, I've been told by my sons I'm too old for Facebook Live. That's the fact of the matter.
That's harsh.
Might be the future, though. Might be the future. Anyway, what did you think of the way he handled himself, Alex, at that press conference?
Yeah, he handled himself very well. It's a guy who's been round about the media for a long time. He's used to that kind of scrutiny. And he didn't give too much away in terms he spoke about.
Alex was in the stand.
Yeah.
One of the 10,000. It's gone up to 12,000 at the end of the night.
Someone said Brendan had 13. I think it's going to get close to 13 by the end of play here.
I don't think there was any surprise that he handled himself well. You know, when you've played for Liverpool, a captain of Liverpool, won the Champions League, you've been in that stage before. Sometimes speaking down a camera lens is easy, but when you go into a dressing room full of senior players, full of egos, full of high opinions of themselves, Darryl, that's when he's going to be judged. Players can see through a manager very, very quickly. If you're not on the ball, if you're not up to date with all your analysis, if you're not giving the right tactics,
though, won't he?
Well, you will, but that is lost very quickly when you become a manager as a coach. Your pedigree before you as a player can disappear very quickly if you don't follow it up as a manager. You know, so that's the biggest test for him. Leave him an under-18 dressing room to go and deal with senior players.
The questions are flying through you. It's actually hard to keep up with them all, but thank you. Keep them coming in. I'll get through as many as I possibly can here. A few have mentioned something you said in the show. I think just the other night when you were talking about the fact that in some ways Graham Murty is more qualified than Steven Gerrard from a coaching perspective. A few people are sort of pulling you up on that point, want to hear more on that.
As in what regard?
Well, you were scathing of Ian Castro for not having the qualifications, not having the experience.
Yeah, well, just stand by it, I guess. A few people are wondering.
Ian Castro's got more experience than Steven Gerrard had.
But the slight difference is that everybody spoke about Ian Castro being a phenomenon of football. He was going to recreate the game.
Ian Castro
he was
didn't
going to be
say that himself, in fairness, did he?
I didn't criticise him initially. I was criticising the publicity surrounding what he was going to do. He was going to reinvent football. He was a pioneer of football in Scotland.
Well, yeah, but not,
Steven Gerrard's entrance has been a lot more humble, a lot more respectful, with someone who's done a lot more in the game playing-wise. But as I said earlier there, he will not be judged as a player when he's a manager. He'll be judged as a coach and a manager first and foremost.
Listen, the bottom line is, you're talking about players and managers and coaches. One of the most telling things about Steven Gerrard's interview there, when I was listening to him earlier on, was talking about what he has to do, and it's quite simple. He has to win games of football.
Yeah.
You can sit and talk about tactics, you can talk about 4-3-3s, everything. You can talk about tactics till the cows come home. The fact of the matter is, he has to find a way to win games of football for Rangers, and he knows that.
He obviously didn't want to talk about targets, aims. Why would he? You'll just pin him down in those targets in the near future.
No, I wouldn't, Daryl, and I think that has been the issue with previous.
Well, it's very different from the Pedro Caixinha approach, isn't it? With the press.
I mean, he from the off really he just talked utter garbage, didn't he, Pedro?
Thank goodness it was garbage.
But even look, I mean, he's coming, and Stephen's right. He's coming with a massive pedigree as a player. It counts for nothing. But what he's in a position now, really, where I don't know. Is second good enough? I don't think it is. Second is last. For Rangers. And
does it depend how he comes second? If it is second
I've
next
got to
season?
say, I disagree. I disagree a little bit with you when you say it counts for nothing. Excuse me. His pedigree must count for something, because straight away there is, I don't care what anybody says, there will be footballers who would think, Steven Gerrard, I'd like to play for him to see what he's like as a manager. Yeah. That in itself will be something. There'll be a quality or a type of player that Steven Gerrard, because of his previous playing skills and wanted to get into management, will attract that other managers will not.
And if the budget's not massive, Ali, they might have to rely on that. Maybe that's one of the reasons they've gone for him.
It's the most important thing.
And that's still the big conundrum, isn't it? You know, where's the investment coming in? And, you know, can he work and improve this current Rangers squad? Or is this current Rangers squad good enough to challenge Celtic? And we know the answer to that.
It will be most certainly an investment, Chris. There's no way that guy's coming up here and putting his reputation on this current squad.
Steve King said today there'll be another sheer issue, so they're obviously going to ask the fans to dig deep again, Alex.
Yeah, well, listen,
fans need to trust the board, first of all.
Ali touched upon it earlier now. He just says they need investment, but they also need more better quality players. If he does not get quality players, second place might not even be attainable. But the thing is, going back to Chris's point there a second, the next 3 games are paramount for Rangers over the course of the next couple of weeks. That's it. If they don't get second place...
Are you surprised he didn't step in now?
Well, listen, I would have liked to have seen him come in now, but if you have commitments and you can't get out them, you know, as part of the getting out of that kind of...
But would Rangers fans not want to see him committed
of course,
from the off?
But like, absolutely, in an ideal world, yes, because I don't care what anybody says, he would have got a reaction out of the Rangers players for the last 3 games. That would certainly have happened. Are they good enough with it to maintain over 38 games, whatever it may be? The answer would clearly be no. But he would have got a tune out for the remaining 3 games. But you have to appreciate he has still got responsibilities, as he clearly said. He's got responsibilities with Liverpool. He's got responsibilities with BT.
Champions League final.
I'm sure that'd be a negative though if he came in. And
I could always have gone in his place.
But if he came in and results didn't go well, not all if buts and maybes, but if he did come in and results didn't go well, it's not his players. He doesn't know them. He's not going to get a chance to put a style on his team. You know, yes, he might get a reaction that people might run about a wee bit more. But he's not going to be able to get any kind of message across, which is probably the sensible thing to say, well, not for me, I'll do it from June the 1st.
The things have changed from last year. Pedro Coutinho came in, paid £300,000 so he could assess the squad. Well, ideally, he would like to come in now, Ali. Had a look at them, but you're talking about the 1st of June.
But the board were saying last time around how important that was to get a manager in place. It seems it's not as important this time around, but maybe it's more down to Stephen.
That's what I think. Yeah. I think it's probably more down to Stephen and his previous commitments.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess the overwhelming majority of people are getting in touch here tonight. They're saying how good this is for Scottish football and how much this is going to bring back into the game. Do you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. You know, Ali says it was global. It is, you know, he's across the globe. He's his brand. But ultimately, it'll be down to getting results. You know, he's starting on the 1st of June. And, you know, the thing is, he needs to hit the ground running. He has to identify players. He's saying that he won't start to the 1st, but his mind will be spinning, going, right, OK, who can we attract? Who can we get in it, can improve this squad of players?
He'll be on it right now. He'll be on
Absolutely,
it right
yeah.
now.
And the Rodgers-Gerrard thing is lovely, isn't it? Because Brendan Rodgers, you know, I saw his press conference today. The truth is he isn't going to want his former pupil and a guy employed, Gary McAllister, coming up and stealing his thunder and putting one over on him. So it's going to be interesting. Let me finish, Daryl. It's going to be interesting. Celtic's reaction to this. Are Celtic going to go big and spend?
Yeah.
Do they need to?
Do they need to?
Yeah. Do they need to? I think Celtic are
where do they need to strengthen
years ahead
Celtic?
Years ahead.
You're saying they won't take the chance,
they
Chris?
need to strengthen.
You're saying they won't take the risk that Steven Gerrard improves them so much?
He will want to put Steven Gerrard away, and he'll say all the nice things as Brendan does, and Gary McAllister. He'll want to put them away early. I think Celtic are unbeaten in 11. I think the most there's ever been going unbeaten was Rangers in the 60s,
Old Firm
maybe.
games? You mean Old Firm
yes.
games?
Playing that
So
concept.
what I'm saying is Steven Gerrard could come up and in his first season be part of a bad history.
Yeah,
And the first Celtic Rangers game is at Celtic Park. And the pressure's going to mount. Let's get it right, because the Europa League qualifies if Rangers make the Europa League. Remember what happened to Pedro? Progress in the flower bed.
Yeah.
It can all go wrong very quickly, but it's a brilliant addition to Scottish football.
You finished? Well, I don't want to interrupt you again. JD, you got some more questions coming in there?
Yeah.
For
Come
us.
on,
I just-
JD.
the
No,
other
it's
phone,
interesting
the other
that-
phone was broken.
It's interesting that, I'm sure we've all been on social media today talking about how good it is for Scottish football. And the Celtic fans are saying, well, we don't really care because we're in the cusp of getting a double treble. They're already looking forward to the Champions League game. So everyone's saying, yeah, it's great for Scottish football. But the Celtic fans are thinking, it's pretty rosy for them at the minute. So they're not really bothered. That seems to be the...
Well, do you know what? I think they say
all.
that, but because he hasn't had a job before, it's the unknown. But there will be a bit of fear because he had such a magnificent player, superb football brain. There will be that unknown from Celtic fans. They will be worried.
One thing you were kind of all suggesting last week, that if he'd been watching the last Old Firm game, which he was watching the last Old Firm game, by the way, I've confirmed that with him today. That you
question,
you
Darryl.
pretty much
Did you watch the game?
Yeah, well, you just never
He
know.
was there, to be
You
fair.
never know. Well,
There was one before. He was
Well, the one
Yeah,
was at
it was
Ibrox, I beg your
Semi,
pardon, he
wasn't
was at Ibrox, wasn't he?
the 5-0 game. But I think your suggestion was if he was watching that last week, he would change his mind and he wouldn't come.
Are you disagreeing with that, Darryl?
Well, I am, because he's here.
So on the
I think
evidence,
it's
so what I'm saying
definitive.
is, on the evidence of that performance, then
But you were
thought
wrong
that was
about
no, you thought that was an acceptable performance to say I'm coming up and taking
No,
over
but
this
you
Rangers
thought
team,
he
and I
might
will be-
change his mind
the whole
on the
point
basis
is,
of
Darryl,
what
is
he
would have
saw.
had. Well, I don't think it changed his mind on what he saw. He would have had assurances about the money. I mean, that was the question which was unanswered from the press conference I saw. He didn't want to talk about money. There'll be investment coming somewhere.
Maybe the
into
sheer
Rangers.
issue.
Well, there
Yeah.
will be investment. Otherwise, he wouldn't have taken the job.
He might have changed his budget
Do you
demands.
disagree with that, Darryl?
He might have asked for a bit more.
He
Put it that way.
obviously, he has said he asked questions of the board, but he did also say, Chris, today in that press conference, and I think something he's reiterated in the interview you'll hear at 6:45, is that pretty much when the first phone call came towards him, that he wanted the job, he knew right away. So it doesn't sound like the first thing he asked, guys, was necessarily about budget.
No, because the attraction of the job clearly appealed to him.
Yeah.
But then when you take a step back, you obviously have to get, as Chris says, assurances and reassurances and financial backing. Because the bottom line is, and I keep saying it, it doesn't matter who's manager the current Rangers squad. They have to get investment to bring a better standard of player in.
Can I
It means
ask
he
you,
has to trust the board, doesn't he, Ali?
Other than the fanatical fan base, the great support Rangers have, what would he see as good about going into Rangers without the investment?
Well, the size of the
Without the
club,
investment.
the size of the club and the fan
fans
base.
aside, size of the club. So, in terms of trust with the board, the behaviour which we've seen as of late, we're talking about the player squad. What has been good about that?
Well, the initial discussions with the board, he spoke about Dave King, Stuart Robertson, and Mark Allen, who knows
Matching his ambition, he said.
and he says,
I'm working on the back of what we have seen in recent
and
times.
you tell him on the playing side then? Is that what you're asking me? The
I'm
playing
saying
side?
what we've seen in recent times.
Yeah.
What is good about Rangers?
Well, the fact is he's clearly got monies put up. There must be money put up,
Yeah,
Chris.
but I'm saying before that.
But you could argue there's only one way they can go.
Yeah,
I mean, you could
yeah,
make that
yeah,
argument, I
correct.
suppose. But he's got to get investment. He's got to get recruitment. He has to get support. I don't care what anybody said. And he's an intelligent enough man. Well, listen to him. He's an intelligent enough man. He knows football. He's watched football. He's played football at the highest level. He'll know, and he's seen Rangers. He was sitting watching videos. I bet he's been watching videos of Rangers
He
games.
said
and
he's
he'll
been
know.
watching them closely. He's had a good
Well,
look
yeah.
last few weeks. A few people are also asking about maybe the signing of Martin Skirtle. Jordan Smith saying an opinion, would he be a good first signing? Skirtle,
Well, I'll tell you what.
Ben Obachi now.
Centre backs, centre backs.
Any kind of centre
I'm just
back,
going to tell you
no
right
matter
now. Wilson's away, Bates is away. Every chance Alvarez will go. Cardoso's probably not good enough to play in a Championship.
He was away
Mark
a
will
while
go
ago.
back. Mark will go
League
back
One
to loan,
team.
won't he? Mark will go back.
You've got McCrory, who's probably not ready to play centre back yet.
Maybe a midfielder.
So I'm not sure. I think he's got a lot of.
He needs to
lot of
bring
things
a
get
couple
work on. He's got
two
a lot of
centre
things
halves.
to.
Yeah.
Minimum.
Minimum of two.
Do you know the big
Minimum.
thing I keep hearing is Steven Gerrard will attract players, and he may well do attract at least interest. But we all know, certainly working in the game, being about the game, that attracts players.
Yeah.
If someone in England is going to
Andy
pay you
Moore, maybe
25 grand a
Steven
week,
Gerrard.
but if someone's going to pay you 25 grand a week in
yeah.
England and Rangers are going to pay you 10, just as an example, but you can work with Steven Gerrard.
You might like
Don't
working
care.
with us,
It might-
Daryl, but you're still paid.
But he's a
aren't you?
friend. They've
You know,
played
you're
together.
you're not going to do it for
Friendship
nothing.
does come into it.
I could
doesn't
talk-
it?
Oh, come on.
You're all
Daryl.
about money. There's a shot.
No, it's
There's a
not.
shot.
I mean,
No,
what are they
listen.
going to pay with Daryl? Buttons?
No,
I just
listen.
wanted to say that. I
Come
didn't hear
on,
you say
Daryl.
that. That was
Come
all.
up here to the
Let's be
non-mercenary
serious. I know,
side.
unbelievable. Leave it out there, will you, please? Right.
Now, if it's loving the game, you're after have a discussion up here. This is...
Indeed. Thank goodness you've come along as well. Anyway, you're right. You going to stay with it later on?
Yeah, I hope so,
Good,
Daryl.
good,
I've got
good. We hope
many
so
more
too.
points I want to make.
Good. Excellent. Don't forget, you can tune in to BT Sport 1 tonight at 6:45 for Scottish Football Extra. You'll hear that exclusive interview with Steven Gerrard, and I think
And Daryl Curry.
everyone will still be with us by then. See you later.